We know where some of the greatest treasures of all times are buried. Hell, X marks the spot. And yet we're helpless to retrieve it. Because society says that we can't dig them up. But now, we don't have to. They'll bring it to us. The machine will bring them back. They need it to us. No.
Do you know what we're doing here?
We're going to be talking to the guy with the indie horror film site.
Right, that's correct.
This guy...
Well, he doesn't... Well, yeah,
he
go ahead.
put all his own stuff and all that, and he had, you mentioned a Indiana Jones fan film?
Yeah, he did a... You remember a tiny... You ever see that tiny Batman one?
Yeah.
He basically did one with his nephew.
Oh,
it was
okay.
pretty. It was pretty cute.
What was it called? Like young Indiana. You don't even know?
Yeah, I do. It's in my notes. Indiana Jones and the Mummy's Skull.
Okay, cool.
Right, so I'm gonna call him. His name's George.
His name is George.
Yeah.
I was gonna call him Harry until you. I'm glad you.
I have a good idea. You know what will make this? You know what will make this podcast better? Don't talk.
Me? What did I do?
I'm kidding. It's joke.
It's such an insult. Hey, partner, guess what? You want to make the show even better? You shut the fuck up. I'm running the show. Screw you.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, huh? Back a little. I was like, wait a minute.
Don't take it to heart. All right, I think I've got this.
Rude bastard. Right. I love you, you rude bastard.
I love you, little fucker.
You magnificent bastard. That's my favorite thing lately, calling people magnificent bastards.
All right. Are you ready? I'm going to add him here.
Okay, let's do this like Brutus.
Then I'm going to have to run in the other room real quick, so you're going to have to make like 5-second small talk.
No! And his name is Gary, you said?
Yeah. George!
Who's this, Julia? What? George?
Yeah, George.
Okay, George.
Can you get that, Mr. Alzheimer's?
Okay. I got you.
Just Stan. Bill.
George.
Gonna fuck you up.
George. Harry. Thomas. Bartholomew.
Alright, it's ringing.
Gwendolyn. Okay.
He's in Kentucky.
You can be a bit of a twang going.
Yeah.
Gotta stop all that below.
Here he comes. Thanks. Hey, George?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Nice to finally talk to you.
I'm doing good.
This is Chris Mosier talking at you.
Okay, good.
And I got Fanboy Will. He's my co-host. He's talking at you. He'll say hi.
Hello. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Hi. Good to talk to you. I've never met you, so I've never even corresponded with you yet. So.
Well, good to talk with you. Yeah, I've been corresponding back and forth. It's good finally to talk to you person to person.
And I'm going to butcher your name because it's a prerequisite of mine to butcher every guest's name. It's George Bonilla. Vanilla. Okay.
It's like vanilla with a B.
Okay. I can handle that. And you're saying vanilla as in ice cream or vanilla as in B as in boy? B as in boy.
B as in boy.
B as in vanilla.
Oh, okay.
B as in vanilla.
Almost like this. Not really, but close.
Okay. We're going to call you Bobby Bonilla.
No, don't do that.
And his company is ZP. Oh, I'm sorry. ZP International Films.
Right. We started the company 7 years and 7 motion pictures ago. The way we got started was I was actually here in Kentucky only for 3 months. I was supposed to be here. We came here from Hawaii. Talk about weather change.
Right.
For 3 months I was here just actually to help a person do a video here, and I was talking to a local agency here, and it was actually a real talent agency. There's so many scam talent agencies out there. It was a real one. And the guy said, the only shame is, he said, everybody comes here, they go to school, they get trained, they do local TV commercials, and as soon as they get any talent, or they get their talent built up, they move away to L.A., they move away to North Carolina, Nashville. He said, nobody stays here. And I started thinking, I thought, well, I've always wanted to take a shot at building a movie company somewhere. And so he said, a movie company would go great here. And so I actually put out a couple feelers to people, and that was the beginning of Zombie Planet, which is the first movie we did. And from there, we've done 7 pictures in a row now. We just wrapped Hell-ephone like 6 weeks ago. It stars Ari Lehman from Friday the 13th, and Alex DeMonico from Playboy, Melissa Wolf, Jim O'Rear, just all kinds of name actors in it, and it's probably our biggest picture to date.
Now, I'm ignorant as far as, like I told you before, I'm not a big horror buff.
So you're going to have to lead me.
Our movies are mostly action adventure. They're not as heavy
Not really
horror as some
right.
of them are.
That's like me. I'm like primarily an action guy, but I like to dabble in horror once in a while.
Well, that's the way our movies kind of lean. They really do. Edison Death Machine. It won several major awards, and when most people watch it, they don't think of it as horror. They think of it as science fiction.
Okay.
Right. It's got a plot where these guys are doing an art heist, and they accidentally steal the Edison Death Machine. They start resurrecting famous people. So it's more of an action adventure than it is actually a horror movie. Because I'm more about characters and story than I am about gore and explosions. I love explosions. Don't get me wrong. There's several in every one of our movies, but I still like characters. I like a story that actually involves me.
No. What kind of filmmaker are you? You actually concentrate on your characters?
Well, it's so funny to say that because I was actually talking to a distributor out in L.A., and I heard this actually from two distributors. And it's actually the filmmaker's curse, really. This distributor said, you know what? He said, I love your movie, Zombie Planet. He said, Zombie Planet's a very good movie. But what you really need to do is you need to get rid of the characters. You need to get rid of the storyline. Try to lose all that plot stuff. And just give me nothing but blood and boobs. And it's like, wow, okay. Lose all the plot stuff.
Just get rid of the zombies and the blood, and you'll be fine.
That's what she actually said. She said, if you lose all that, she says, you just give me nothing but blood and boobs, and we can sell this movie. And I thought, wow, if I'm going to make a movie like that, because they're really not interested in making them,
There you go.
So I like to keep a good story and good characters in a movie.
Well, that's good. That's original.
That's a good thing.
Well, I'll tell you right now, speaking about looking at your stuff, actually, I think some of the most inventive films being made right now are the fan films.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they...
Amazing.
Limited resources. You've got to go a long way with limited resources. It's a lot of imagination.
We trained our crew and everything from the ground up. We brought people. I'm more interested in bringing a person on the set who has the want-to attitude instead of the 10 years experience behind him. I'm more interested in the guy who comes on the set and say, hey, I've always wanted to learn how to run a camera. Instead of the guy who comes on the set and say, I've been running a camera for 15 years. I'm more interested in training that person to do it the way we want it done. So we built our own crew from the ground up. We use mostly cast that has never been on a set before. And, we've built a very successful motion picture business in the state of Kentucky. It's like, I think the figures I last heard was when we first started shooting Zombie Planet, there were 2 movies produced here in that year. And I think between last year and this year, there's 37 pictures made this year in the state.
Now,
I see you won Filmmaker of the Year in Kentucky.
Yeah, they must have slim pickings. They think. No, I was very, very proud of that. Friday Night Film Festival, Ken Daniels, they just told me to show up down at the Kentucky Center of the Arts. I didn't know what for. My picture's not even in contention. And showed up, and they presented me as Filmmaker of the Year, which I was very, very pleased with. There's a lot of great filmmakers here. I was very humbled by that.
And then they went psych and took it back, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess next year I'm supposed to show up and present it to somebody else, so I'm just not going to show up next year.
Do you do you do your own films? Do you assist in other films? Do people come and hire you to make their films? How far does it go?
I get offered films all the time, but I'm actually doing our own films.
Okay.
I worked in the industry since 1985, and working for other people, and that was one of the main requisites. I said, every time I've been on a movie that's either been shelved or screwed up, it's always been somebody else has done it. So one of the prerequisites when we started this company was, it's either going to live or die by us. I'm going to work for us. I'm going to make our own movies. And so far, like I say, we're 7 pictures in, and we've been very successful.
There you go. Beautiful.
Take as many other hands out of the pie if we can, So,
grassroots movement in the bluegrass state.
It's been very good. I think I was talking to Cherokee Hall, who's another film producer here. He runs Justice League Films, and I think he told me that there were 16 other production companies going in the state right now. All of them started with Zombie Planet. So those people that we trained all went on and started their own productions.
That's cool.
So it does start with grassroots and just keeps moving out. And with the technology coming online that it is, it's like it's just going to get better and better. With the new Red Cam, the Scarlet from the Red Cam people coming up on the market in January,
okay,
it's going to really bridge the gap between digital and 35 millimeter.
Now, what's that? Explain that.
Well, the Red Cam started a company a couple of years ago, and their main goal was to produce a digital motion picture that looks like a 35 millimeter picture.
Oh, cool.
That's always been everybody's goal. It's so ironic because everybody went HD. Everybody went high def.
Right.
And high def is actually the opposite of what everybody's trying to get, because motion picture, to your eyes, if you look at a movie and really look at the movie on the big screen, it is a deteriorated product. It has a lot of pixels, it has a lot of grain, a lot of, it's just really, really not a great picture. But instead, everybody's been trying to develop movies that look absolutely crystal clear and sharp and clean, and that's not what you want to see if you're looking at 35mm movies. So Redcam went the other way. They said, okay, we're going to develop a product that looks exactly like a 35mm movie. It always cracks me up when somebody shoots HD. The first thing they do after they shoot the HD, what do? They take it into post, and then they degrade the signal to make it look like 35mm. They're like, well, what was the reason you shot it in HD for? I don't get that. But so anyway, Redcam came up. They actually were able to design the technology. And, I mean, if you go onto their site, Redcam, and they'll show you a 35mm Panaflex picture. They show you the same picture shot with the Redcam. The Redcam looks absolutely great.
That's sweet.
So anyway,
I've never even known about that.
Yeah, well, they're coming out with a product in January called Scarlet Cam. Scarlet Cam, Red Cam's been out now for a couple of years. Scarlet Cam comes out in January. Scarlet Cam is the version that is to compete with the Canon and the Sony and the Panasonic. The Scarlet Cam fully loaded is less than $5,000.
Wow, technology is crazy. You blink and it changes.
Oh, it's amazing. And once we get to where we're shooting an actual 35mm looking picture, there's no stopping us. We will raid the gates of Hollywood. That's the only thing that's keeping all the independents back so far is they can still shoot with the big money.
It's going to be a big trail.
If we can shoot a 35mm picture, we got them.
How about another big thing I find in independent film, fan film and stuff is sound. Is there any technology coming along to improve that? Because I think with what you're talking about, and if they can get a real quality sound product into the consumer or the amateur filmmaker's hands, I mean, that would kick major, major ass.
And it would definitely improve things tenfold, the enjoyment of the film.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. And nothing bugs me, and I always tell people this, I pay attention to your sound. There's two things you always have to pay attention of as an amateur filmmaker, or even as a prosumer filmmaker, is your lighting and your sound. If you don't light your picture well, then your picture doesn't get up on the screen. It never happened. If you've got the most beautiful picture in the world, and your sound is like...
Right, exactly.
It's still... Yeah, well, perfect example is, I won't tell you the name of the movie, but it was an independent movie I was watching last year, and this guy did a wonderful job. It looked good, it sounded good, and then there's one scene where these guys are walking the street talking, and the one guy talks and it's just perfect. Well, what do you think about this? The other guy opens his mouth and you hear, and we stop talking, and he starts
Apparently he had nothing to say.
It's just like, they didn't take the ambient out of the background. And it's just, they should have looped him. But you know what? Here's the thing, though, that people, as an audience, they don't remember anything about, I don't remember a thing about that movie except that scene. Because that scene is just what stuck in my mind. How bad it was, and the rest of the movie looked so good. So you have to really strive for good sound and good picture, because that's all they remember. They remember the flaws. And so, but to answer your question, there's a lot of good digital technology coming out. One trick I do that I've kind of told, it's kind of a little tricky though, you got to be careful. But what we do is now, we actually we'll have our people do the scene, right? And you shoot on location, but 80% of everything you record on location is just crap, you know that. It's just, the sound is awful.
You're re-looping later?
So, yeah, well, what we do is, we don't wait till later. As soon as the scene is done, we go into the nearest quiet building, and we have them pick their scripts up, and we put a microphone right in between them. We say, do your lines again. And right inside of that building.
The scene that they just did is fresh in their mind, so they can kind of emulate that.
Yeah, the scene they just did. And it's absolutely worked out just great for us. And, yes, it takes an extra 30 minutes, and I know at the end of the day, everybody's ready to go. They're ready like, let's get in our car and leave. We've been here 12 hours. Spend that extra 30 minutes, you save yourself 10 hours later.
Right.
And it just worked out just beautifully for us.
You don't have to get everyone back together again and all that mumbo-jumbo.
No, absolutely. We shot a scene where we machine gunned these kids in a car. And in the background, of course, there was traffic going the whole time. And so I knew right away he was going to loop it. So the one actor, I saw him heading for his car. I was like, no. Come inside for 30 minutes. And we took him inside, and sure enough, I used 100% of that re-recorded dialogue on that scene.
Huh. That's awesome.
And I didn't have to bring him back and hunt him down in California or something.
Now, to use like in the old 35mm, you couldn't record sound,
Oh, yeah, well, you got to use those recording devices, exactly.
You had to redo everything, go back and dub it in and make it happen.
Well, I have a friend he actually bought a little digital recorder, just a $300 digital recorder. And not only does he record his on-camera sounds with a boom mic, but he takes a little digital recorder and runs a little microphone, just sets it down on the floor while they're talking. It gives him a second sound base.
Yeah.
So there's things you can do on set that'll save you a ton of time later. Now, of course, when we shot Indiana Jones and the Mummy Skull, the scene that you were so gracious to put on your site,
right?
There was no re-loop in that dialogue. When those kids were done, they were out of there. So
we got video games to play. We're out of here, right?
It's like, I love crap. And of course, kids like everybody else, they think movies are some magical, mystical thing that just make themselves. And so when they're 3 hours into it, they're kicking rocks and kicking cans. I'm like, wow, this is taking forever.
Well, how'd that come with you guys again? You're through in this town. You hear me? Through. It's like, and getting little kids to do fight scenes was absolutely a blast too, because they want, you want them to throw one punch. You say, okay, I want you to throw this punch over his shoulder, and of course they throw 4 punches for you. Either one. Don't actually hit him. Stop it. You're kicking him. It was a whole different thing. But they did a wonderful job. They did a really, really wonderful job.
It was a long day. It was a cute film.
Oh, thank you. We did that we shot that all in one day. It really needed about a 3-day shoot. So we shot it all in one day, and I sent them the script a week early, and they really worked their little butts off on it. It was really a good little picture.
Were you by any chance inspired by any old fan films doing that, the Young Indiana?
Did you even know what a fan film was?
Yeah, good question.
Well, actually, I love some of the fan films. There's a couple I saw, of course, the classics like Grayson and Batman Dead End. But I think what inspired me more than anything was I just love the Indiana Jones movies, and I'm thinking, my nephews are exactly the right age. I said, you know what, we should do something. We got it was actually right before we started Hell-ephone. So I said, we got 3 to 4 weeks before we start shooting our new movie, and I said, I need to take the equipment out for a field test anyway. So I wrote this script around the Indiana Jones, and so it gave us a reason to get together. But yeah, I love the fan films. I think they're some of the most creative things done out there right now.
And they're doing, like Chris said earlier, they're doing their best with little technology, little resources. So it's extra impressive when somebody can pull something off that's so fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I was talking with some guys at the show that are doing these Star Trek things.
Yeah, Chris is more the Star Trek guy. You're Chris with the fan.
Do you remember which one? Yeah, I enjoy them. I'm a pretty big Star Trek fan.
I just discovered lately that when it's kind of like a continuation of the original series. What's that one again?
Oh, I love those.
Oh, Phase 2.
And the thing was, we were talking with these guys, and they had actually, you probably know the guys I'm talking about, they had actually got one of the set designers from the original series.
Yeah, that's...
Actually came out and helped them design their sets, and I was like, it just doesn't get much better than this. I mean, it was absolutely incredible quality.
Yeah, it was originally called New Voyages, and then they called it Phase 2 after that. I don't know why they made the change.
Well, look at you, Chris.
What'd you say?
I said, look at you, Chris. Chris knows way too much.
Sure.
What the hell was it? Well, you got to know what you love, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Now, George,
we're talking now. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're the guest. You tell me to shut up.
Well, we're actually talking now about expanding our genre and going into our next movie we're talking about doing is an actual action picture called Whacking the Dawn, which is a mobster comedy. So we're actually expanding our horizons too. I'm constantly amazed at fan films. Like you'll watch something that somebody does, and then you watch their next picture, they double their quality almost. And so we always try to do that with ours too. We try to make sure that we at least take another step up every time we make a new picture.
That's the way, right? It's the way to do it.
Keep pushing it. Keep pushing that envelope.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said, keep pushing that envelope.
Oh, absolutely. You have to. I think nothing bothers me more than when I go to somebody's movie and then I'll see the next movie they make, on amateur
and it's the same goddamn thing over and over again,
Yeah, the same thing, just retreaded over and over.
Yep. It's like showing
that drives me nuts.
It's like doing the same magic trick at every party you go to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with Hell-ephone turned out to be the most difficult movie we've ever done, but we actually finished it 2 weeks ahead of schedule and under budget. because our crew's just gotten that good. But we had 7 name actors in it. We had, we brought in John Dugan from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, came in and did a 2-day shoot for us. Cool. And and so I think that we have to do that. We have to make sure we push the every time, make sure our quality steps up every notch. I always love when you talk. I always tell people, don't read reviews, because there's always those angry people out there who just want to throw rock at somebody because they're not making movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so you get those people say, oh, this is a piece of crap. And then the first thing pops into my mind is, well, I haven't seen your movie. What's the name of your movie?
That's a big one. Yeah.
And so I think, we constantly push the envelope and we constantly up the quality because we want to, not because people tell us we have to, because you should try to do that.
Yeah, strive for the best because it makes you look better. You don't want to settle for just like a kind of mediocre production.
Oh, absolutely. You remember me telling you about the lady who said all they wanted was blood and boobs? Well, after I had that conversation with her, if you watch our movie Monstrosity, you'll notice that we throw everything in the audience's face in the first 4 minutes.
This is what you're going to get.
Here it is. Here's your blood. Here's your boobs. Now let me get on with the boobs.
Right?
Boobs all over your face, everybody.
You got it right here. Now let me get on with the
A cliche.
Get my attention. I know that.
You throw the cliche mortar in the beginning and then get it over with.
I actually told our crew, I said, look, we're going to have a high body count. We're going to show our blood. We're going to show our boobs. And we're going to get everything out of the way in 4 minutes so we can start telling the story. And we have a body count, I think, of 7. We have 2 nude shots and a sawed-off head and necrophilia in the first 4 minutes.
All right.
What more do you want? I mean, get it all out of the way, and then we get on to telling our actual story.
Enough of that entertaining stuff. Now we're going to spin a yarn. Let's go, everybody.
Exactly. That's what we do. Because our stories do get quite involved. Like in Monstrosity, of course, Monstrosity not only involves a circus freak who's a legendary killer, but it involves Nazi gold. It involves people on a treasure hunt. The story's quite complex. So I want to make sure we got all that good stuff out of the way. Now let's get to the story.
Sounds like you dabble in a lot of different stuff. Are you a comic book fan at all, or?
I'm sorry, say again?
Are you a comic book fan at all?
Oh, yeah. I don't read them as much as I used to. I used to really be into them as a younger man. Of course, I used to love all the old Conans, and used to read a lot of the EC horror stuff, and of course, Famous Monsters. Not really a comic, but I used to love Famous Monsters.
Yeah, that was a good magazine.
And my brother, he inherited all my comic books, and he still loves them.
There you go. They're living on.
Absolutely. He's got a whole closet full, and he buys new ones every day.
Just like me, I could build a house out of comics.
Yeah.
Well, half my room is filled. It's ridiculous.
Oh, we left him a really, really nice collection. I mean, I know he has a Hulk #1 somewhere.
Oh, geez, nice.
So I know he has one of those anyway.
He beat me.
Now, George, do you consider your films in? I'm trying to say this nicely. Do you consider your films B movies? What's the distinction now? Maybe because of the new technology, maybe B movies are going to be something of the past. Maybe they're still going to be around. You tell me. Do you consider your films B movies? And
I actually think the term B movie has kind of a negative connotation, but B movies are a lot of fun. I think I would like to consider our movies B movies because they are the kind of movies that I like to watch when, if you go sit down in front of a movie. I like to think of it this way. A lot of the early Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, you remember those? Like
Hercules in New York.
Oh, well, a little bit farther than that even. I'm talking about like Raw Deal and Commando.
I remember Raw. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Well, the thing about those movies, what was great about those movies were you could actually get up, once they came out on VHS, which of course is a dinosaur now, you could get up, go to the fridge, get a beer, drink a beer, come back, and you never missed a plot point.
Right, exactly.
Well, you knew your bad guys were bad, you knew your good guys were good.
Right.
Get to the chopper!
Yeah, exactly. And so I like to think our movies are that way. Our movies do have good stories, they do have good plot points, but they're also just fun. You don't have to leave the theater thinking deep thoughts afterwards. No, like, okay, that car, the pirate got blown up. That was cool.
This wasn't based on a novel by a hermit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to be very.
Our cowboys eating pudding somewhere, right?
I never understood that. People leave their boring, dismal lives to go watch, depressing films to escape.
Either depression. To feed the depression.
Right? Absolutely. Jerry Lewis, of all people. Jerry Lewis is, by the way, a great director. If you ever read his career, the guy we only think of him as a comic, but the guy was absolutely a real innovator. But I actually saw an interview where he did one time, and he said, you know what? He said, I don't want to be a guy who lives in a cold water flat. I don't want to go see a movie about a guy who lives in a cold water flat. You know, you go to the movies for escapism.
Right. Yeah, it's very true. Very true.
You go to live somebody else's life. I mean, I watched Die Hard Part 4 last night. And the whole time you're watching that, you know, you're living the adventure. You're not there watching a guy watching Die Hard 4.
Yeah, that was a guilty pleasure, I must admit. I liked it.
Absolutely. And that's what I go to see. And, you know, the new Indiana Jones movie, a lot of people I know threw rocks at it, but I thought it was just fun.
Yeah, it had some, you know, obviously, you know, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, too. I mean, obviously it had its kind of like silly moments, but it felt like Indiana Jones still. You know, it took a little while for it to set in that movie, but finally it did. And then
Absolutely.
From there it was kind of like, oh, you know, not too bad.
I think I agree with you totally. You know, I told this one friend of mine, I said, you know what? If it's the worst of all 4 movies, it's still going to be one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah.
And it was. It was a lot of fun. I had a blast watching it. And, of course, I ran out and got my DVD copy as soon as it came out. But the fun part to me was, you know, we talked about passing on things, like we talked about the comic books. I took my little brother to see Raiders of the Lost Ark in '81. And I took him to see the new Indiana Jones. And that, of course, he's 33 years old now.
Yeah, that's me. I saw my first movie I ever saw in the theater was Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark with my father, and I was probably about 10 years old. It was the same exact thing.
There you go.
And I was blown away.
Indiana Jones.
I didn't know what to do when I left that theater. I was like, wow! It was like the greatest thing in the world. So right away I went home and started playing with my dog's chain and throwing it over my swing set, swinging into the fence.
Well, you know, I think the best thing you can say about a picture is if you're flipping through the channels and Raiders of the Lost Ark is on A&E or something or whatever it comes on, you're flipping through the channels and it comes on, you end up finding yourself sitting there watching quite a few minutes of it.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what a great movie it is. You know, even though you've seen it 50 times. And I think that is the tell of a good movie. A good movie will stand the test of time. A lot of these so-called great films of the last few years, when you've seen them once, you know what? You've seen them.
That's what it is. You can't see, like, you know, A Beautiful Mind 30 times.
Right. Exactly. That's a perfect example. It really is. I mean, it was a great movie the first time. When I see it on TV now, I just go right through it. I run it to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I've lived through this. I want to see some blood and boobs.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what I want.
Characterization stuff. I just want to see the blood and boobs. Right.
I want faces melting and Nazis. I want it all.
How can you go wrong with that?
That's right.
Oh, it's funny though. We were doing. Speaking of Nazis, just a real quick story. We did Dance with the Vampire. There's a scene in there with neo-Nazis, and so we had everybody with the swastikas and the trench coats, and you get so lackadaisical. That was our 4th picture, and so you just kind of it almost gets like second nature to you. We don't think about it anymore like other people do. So afterwards, we all break the set and we all decide to go out to dinner, and there's a couple of our guys sitting there eating dinner with their swastika bands on. Oops. Yeah, it didn't occur to me until I turned around this other table staring at us. I was like, oh, we're making a movie. So it does get to be, you know, we think of it, we almost think of it as a job, sort of, but it is a magical thing to other people.
Only acceptable in L.A. and Kentucky, swastikas.
Absolutely. I'm seriously, like Jerry Williams, he's another filmmaker here in the area. Like, he has a great quote. He says, "You can't shake a tree here without a filmmaker." So it's booming in this area, which is a great thing. We all hire our cast from each other and our crews. You can't really keep a cast or crew anymore. Somebody else is hiring them off.
I mean, do you sell enough of these movies to, I mean, obviously to make the next one, or does someone come along and budget them for you? How does that work?
Well,
do you have investors?
No, actually, you heard me mention my pool a while ago. I'm actually not having to do anything. I've got like 8 pool people out here cleaning it right now. We make very, very, very good money.
Okay.
I'm only kidding, of course. we
do they go see, senor?
Here in Kentucky, are you serious? But we do. It does pay for itself. Now, it's not. You know, most people think that you. I'll never forget. I was talking to another local filmmaker here, and he said, you know, we're really having to skimp on this budget. He said, but we're going to have $2.5 million to do our next movie with. And I was like, wow, really? And he said, yeah. He said, Sony is going to give us $2.5 million. And I was like, wow, Sony offered you $2.5 million. He said, oh, no, they haven't offered that to us. He said, but that's what they pay for these kind of movies.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking, yeah,
sure.
Good luck with that.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, I told him, I said, listen, until you get Sony to write you a check, don't even plan on that.
Yeah.
But, you know, the stories you you hear, and I do a seminar about making your own movie, and one of the things I tell them, one of the myths is, a friend of mine got $6 million from Sony. Everybody's heard that story. And it usually, if you try to track it down, it never happened. But you can make good money with the self-distribution market right now. We've had 3 worldwide distribution deals. We've made decent money with all 3. We've not made the big truckload of money that Sony's supposed to show up with. So if you're thinking to get into the business and make a big truckload of money, you're not going to. You can make very good money with it, and you just keep making your money, and you keep making the next movie, and the next movie, and the next movie, till one of those movies hits.
Right, like you said, you keep improving with each movie that you make. So makes sense.
Absolutely, and I think I heard that the guys who did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
That was their 22nd movie.
Wow. Yep.
Their first 21 movies flopped. So you got to just keep going. But to answer your question of financing, we self-finance. We put all of our budget up for our own pictures, and we did that by just putting money back until we got ready to start shooting. And now the movies, luckily, one pays for the next one. They're not making a ton of money, like I said, but they pay for the next picture now.
Right.
That's the main goal.
What would you say cost the most in making a picture?
That's a good
Probably,
question.
wear and tear on the director, I would say, is way up there.
Cocaine and hookers.
Yeah, cocaine and hookers. That's always one of our topics.
Very high price.
The fluff girls.
Well,
There's an obsession. They're lowering prices.
Well, I was going to say, we're in Kentucky. We get a little bit of a discount on our hookers.
There you go. You guys are doing meth over there. It's a different situation.
Well, if you want one with more than 3 teeth, you have to pay more. But it's another thing. I shouldn't say that. This isn't going to air, is it?
No.
Maybe.
Let me apologize to all the hookers in Kentucky right now. So.
You're a dead man. It's official.
Yes, I don't get any letters, but the highest cost I think is always going to be locations, effects. You want to make sure that your locations look great. We probably put more money out on locations, but also your equipment costs are always high. That's why, though, I'm telling a lot of people, hey, wait until this new technology comes out. Don't rush out, and I know I'm going to get a lot of angry people saying, I bought a whole high-def suite. I can't believe you're saying this. But don't run and buy a high-def right now. Wait for the new Scarlett technology, because I'll tell you how good the Scarlett technology is that Canon, Sony, and Panasonic are all rushing a camera onto market to compete with it. They're not building new high-def. They're rushing new technology to compete with that camera. So
you'll have to school us in all this techno talk you're talking about.
Oh, believe me, I'm a total novice at it. I actually contacted the company and talked to them about it. So,
no kidding.
But that's going to be always be one of your highest costs is your equipment. I know people in the business who have to buy the newest toy that comes down the line every time a new one comes out.
Right.
I have to have this. I have to have that. No, you don't. Buy what you need to get you a good picture, get you a good sound. It's got to get on the screen. If it doesn't get on the screen, it never happened. So just buy you what you actually need. Don't run out and buy every trinket and every toy. I know a guy who does movies in Lexington who probably owns, I would guess, $100,000 worth of equipment. He said he never went into it over $1,000.
Yeah.
Because he'd buy something, use it till it pays for itself, and then put the money into something else.
Yeah, that's just common sense. That's just good economics.
Absolutely. Because, believe me, if I listened to everybody who told me I had to have a piece of equipment, I would be buying a piece of equipment a day. You have to have that. Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. If it's not going to help my picture, it's not going to help my sound, I don't need it.
And even if people are getting a great picture and they're satisfied with it and everything like that, they still feel the need to go and buy that new piece, like you said. Even though their picture looks great to them, they're happy, they still feel pressured by all these people, like, you got to get this. It's the newest thing, everybody. Come on.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I've got a friend who does that. He has to buy everything that comes out. And you know what? It never fails, though. Whenever I go over to his house, he's editing or something, I'll see that brand new piece of equipment with a nice little film of dust on it. Because it's never been used. So it's like, I always tell people that. If you, again, I go to shows all the time, and people come up to me all the time and say, oh, you know what? You've got to have this. Oh, you've got to have that. Buy what you need. Don't listen to all these salespeople who get all excited. And if you like to have the newest toy that comes out of the market, if you can afford it, by all means, buy it.
Right.
But I just don't need it.
Yeah, that's true in anything.
Yeah, I imagine you guys are toy collectors too, aren't you?
Yeah, guilty as charged.
I was going to say, so I can't say anything about not buying everything.
It's hard, man. Like I actually was just going to mention earlier with Indiana Jones. I just read this thing that Toys R Us is going to start yanking all the Indiana Jones before the Temple of Doom line comes out for the end of the the Hasbro line, they're actually going to start yanking them because they're not selling. So,
really?
Yeah, they're not doing very well with the indie line, unfortunately. So they are coming out with some cool figures, like Short Round is coming out in the next one, and Mola Ram, and like they're all coming out in the next series. So I hope that they do put them out a little bit, but who knows?
Oh, me too. That's surprising because the thing. I guess maybe it's regional, but down here we've noticed that, like in our WalMarts and our Toys R Us, whenever you go to that section of toys, they're almost always empty.
Yeah. I guess it depends, like you say, where you
plus, there's probably a lot in New York, Will. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's probably a lot of places to go.
Oh, there is. I mean, I know where to go. I'm a collector, so I know, where to go for what,
Some places...
still even online, like there's a 12-inch figure of Indiana Jones that somebody was making. It looks just awesome.
Sideshow.
I think it might be the Sideshow one.
Exactly.
That's
incredible.
It's still going for top dollar online.
Yeah, that's sweet. I wouldn't mind getting one of those.
I know.
Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on one of those.
Yeah.
Of course, I've got the bullwhip and the hat and the gun and all that good stuff.
You have to make a grown-up fan film.
Oh, yeah. Well, my little brother, by the time he was like 10 years old, like you said, he had everything. He had the jacket, the hat, the gun, the belt, everything. Now I can't get him back off. He won't get back to me. So.
I used to wear my dad's old fishing hat, pretending I was Indiana Jones. That's what I used to do.
Junior?
Well, see, there you go. I mean, whatever works. Imagination's a wonderful thing.
And it was blue, and somehow I had like a bandana patch on it. I don't know what it was all about.
You were the Sean Connery character there.
I was fantastic. I was fantastic Indiana Jones.
You were Henry the First.
I was.
Hey, I'll never forget. I took all the nephews and nieces out, and this, of course, was like 25 years ago. But when the first movie came out, gosh, hard to believe today, long ago. But we took them all out. We're all playing Indiana Jones. We get to this bridge going across a river. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go hand over hand across that bridge. So as soon as my feet left the bank, I realized how much I weighed. And it's like, and now I can't let go. I'm going to fall in the river. So I had to complete that climb, and that was the hardest climb of my life. But by golly, I did it.
Now you know you can't, or can't.
I could then at least.
Or did, yeah, right.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago, but still.
I always like to ask, George, how old a guy are you? I always ask people that. I just like to compare it to how old I am.
Are you right, little bastard?
What's that? You don't have to tell me.
Well, I'm in my 40s.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. I'm almost there.
Almost there. Listen to you.
A couple more years.
40s, but, I've got, like the old saying, I've got scars all over me for every year. So.
Right.
I'll definitely check. Oh, by the way, I did check out Little Batman.
Yeah, that was cute.
What an amazing little film.
Yeah. Speaking of that, they're going to rip you off. I read on Clive Young's site there, Will. He's another fan film buff, that he's going to be doing a Little Tykes Indiana Jones fan film.
Well, I'll find out where they're shooting, and I'll send somebody to sabotage that.
Right? Exactly. Beat those little kids into submission.
I was going to say, I see those little kids move. I can take them.
Kill! Get them! Seize them, children!
Kick the baby. So it's like,
Don't kick the baby.
Don't kick the baby. But I was really impressed with that little film. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, that was...
it is such a trick working with kids. It really is. And like I said, they're wonderful little actors, and they're just like little sponges. They'll do anything you tell them. But the problem is, like I said, they don't realize how much work there is into doing a movie. I always tell people, it amazes me how many times we'll get on the set and you'll hear somebody, they'll come onto the set and they'll say, you know what, I've always wanted to do a movie. I can't believe I'm standing on this set going to do a movie. Then 12 hours later, when they leave the set, they're never coming back.
Right.
Oh, gosh. 12-hour day for us is a short day anymore.
Right.
We did when we did the Death Festival in Zombie Planet, it had I think we had 75 extras, plus the 2 guys fighting, plus 8 major actors on the set. And I think we shot 16 hours that day. And it was once you're on set and everybody's in makeup, you do what you got to do to get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just amazing how many people don't think. Oh, I'll tell you a perfect story about that, though. This girl calls me and she says, so-and-so told me to call you that you had a lead for your upcoming movie, Hell-ephone. And I said, well, yeah. I said, it's the lead character. She's a girl that I'm telling her all. And she said, oh, okay. She said, well, he thought I'd be perfect for it. He wants me to come see you. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, well, how long do you think this will take? And I said, well, we're probably looking at a shooting schedule about 4 months. She said, 4 months? I said, yeah. She said, oh, well, I only set aside for a couple hours for this.
Oh, yeah, okay. No clue.
She honestly thought 2-hour movie takes 2 hours to do.
Yeah.
She said, it's only a 2-hour movie. She said, I thought you'd only need me for a couple hours.
Oh, boy.
like, well, okay, well, never mind.
How blonde was she?
I never got to meet her. I never got to have the phone conversation. But it's a lot of work. But it's also a lot of fun, and I think our results show it. I think we do make good pictures. I think we have a lot of fun doing them.
Now, what do you have on tap as far as the future for ZP International Films?
Well, we're talking about doing Whacking the Dawn. We'll start pre-production that in February. We just released The Kane Chronicles, which is a really good slam-bang action picture. I got to send you a copy of it. You'll really like it.
I'd appreciate it.
It's 2 hours of just action. I mean, it just really sandwiches together a very good story. It takes 4 years after the world ends. And even though it's done on a low budget, it's very high concept, very high quality, I believe. And so we just released that one literally last week.
Okay.
We'll start Whacking the Dawn in February. We'll start shooting in spring. And then we've already got Enter the Masked Man, which is going to be the best kung fu action picture ever shot in the United States since Enter the Dragon came out years ago. Enter the Dragon was Hong Kong. So we want to do something that's got all kinds of... we're bringing in martial artists from all over the world to be in this movie.
Nice.
And we'll start shooting it probably next winter.
You're going to show John Woo how to do it.
Oh, we're going to try our best. We're actually studying other people's movies and saying this works, that doesn't work.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, we're bringing in a guy who fights with canes that's never been put on film. He teaches the CIA how to do it.
Huh.
Whoa. And we're bringing in a guy from Hong Kong who does water work. And so we're really ambitious about that. We're going to we got to get Whacking the Dawn behind us first.
Some wire fu action.
Absolutely. Worries me. I mean, you can give an act piece of paper and they can hurt somebody. So, we'll start shooting that. But there's a lot of skills that we have. Even though we've done just about everything in movies, we've done fight scenes, explosions, we've done machine guns, we've done everything. There's a lot of fight action that we've never touched, and we want to make sure that if we put it on film, it looks just right.
Right. That would be
we'll
cool.
give ourselves some extra time
I'd like
to build
to see that. I always thought you did horror movies, just because I saw your previews and they screamed horror at me. I don't know why I got my brain into that.
Well, I think we have a creature in just about every movie. That may have been
That's probably it.
Yeah, there's like some makeup effects in every movie we've done. So we've gotten very proficient at that. We're one of the best. My wife Tammy actually does our foam rubber, and we have Jake Rich out of Indiana does our sculpting. And some of our makeup effects have been just absolutely top notch. But like I said, we usually get that as a hook to get you in to get the story. Oh, I do want to mention a while ago, before I forget about it, Frank Santorowski, he's our press man. And if you get a chance to go online at www.zpmovies.com, you can see all the trailers. And if you contact Frank and there's anything you want to know about the company, or he does a wonderful job of handling all of our media relations.
Okay, great. He's the go-to guy.
Yeah, he is. He's wonderful. He's got our press kits. And, if there's anybody out there who would like to, receive a press kit and check out what we're about, just email us, let us know. Of course, we'll only send press kits to people who need them. We only send press kits to everybody. So, but they'll give you all the information you need on our website. But it's zpmovies.com. We're not making Gone with the Wind, but we're making some pretty doggone good pictures, I think. Although we did call Zombie Plants of Citizen Kane a zombie movie, but that was that was just what we referred to, and we were shooting it month after month after month.
Rosebud.
Believe me, toward the end of it was that way. It's funny because you also never think, you remember everything with rose-colored glasses. There's a great fight sequence in the movie that we shot on this bridge in Frankfort, Kentucky. And that's the capital, state capital. So we shot it on an old bridge, which the state of Kentucky is fantastic. Diane Knight and the Film Commission, every time we've ever called them and said, hey, we really need this. We really need that. They say, okay, get right back to you. They call us back and say, you got it. So they shut down this bridge in Frankfurt for 2 weeks to let us shoot on it. But the funny part is the bridge is right, it's below the new bridge, and it goes right into the city. So driving over the new bridge, you're looking down at the old bridge. So we go on the bridge, and we hang up 20-some corpses hanging by their necks and hanging strapped to poles and all this stuff. And so it was a big fight sequence there. And so we let all the local police agencies know about it and everything. And all of a sudden we hear this car screech up with the siren blazing. And I'm like, wow, what's that about? And a cop comes, he peers around the side of our little thing, and he said, oh, okay. And I walked around and said, well, what is it? Officer said, oh, we heard there was a mass suicide going on.
It's terrible, I tell you. His body's hanging from the ceiling.
Is it the same as Hollywood?
Driving over there, people visiting from Ohio or Indiana, they're driving over the bridge saying, wow, look at that over there.
Do you have to get get permits? I caught half that. Do you have to get permits and everything?
Well, the state of Kentucky doesn't require permits.
No?
We've been, like I said, they've been very good. But I do want to tell all filmmakers out there, one of the biggest rules in filmmaking, and I tell people this over and over, is you notify everybody in the area that you're shooting.
Especially if you're hanging off a bridge.
Yes, you call the state police, local police, city police, you call everybody. Last year, there was a film being made here, and I'm not going to say what the film was. And I get a call. I'm in Georgia at the time, and I get a call, and this guy says, hey, I saw what happened to you guys last night, man. Are you guys okay? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, I saw where the police threw you guys on the ground, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So I get back, and I got like 5 phone calls. And it was a crew that had worked for me at one time, no longer work for me. They go out and they decide they're shooting a scene in a convenience store of a pickup. They're shooting an armed robbery in a convenience store. Didn't call nobody. Here the guys are in there with Uzis wearing ski masks. They didn't call anybody. Off-duty cop drives by. They call SWAT in.
Oh, my God.
So, I saw the director after that, and he tried to laugh it off and everything. And I talked to one of his actors right after, and he said, man, there was nothing funny about that. He said, they had guns drawn on us. He said, they put us on the pavement with guns stuck in the back of our heads. He said, there was nothing funny about that.
Yikes.
And so it's like, it's like, even though we know we're making a movie, you have to realize that everybody else does. So cover all your bases.
Right? Yeah. That's, I wonder what they told them. I wonder what they told everyone who was working for them. I mean, there had to be one brain out of that whole operation saying, you know what, this isn't a good idea.
But you know what? The funny part was, like I said, these guys had worked for me before.
Yeah.
So they know, they knew very well what the steps are to do. They know I call everybody before we shoot. And you know what his excuse was? He said, well, I just forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have got one of your people shot.
Yeah.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Well, and the funny part was, I was talking to one of the guys, and he said, he turned around, he told the cops, hey, we're just actors, with his gun in the air. They cocked their guns. He said they cocked their guns. He said, there was nothing funny about it.
No. It's funny now, though.
You have to remember, it's like the story I was telling you a while ago. We also were at dinner one night. We were at Applebee's here in Lexington, and we were shooting. We were talking about, there was a scene in Zombie Planet where a guy gets sliced across the stomach. So we're deciding what's going to be the best way to drop his intestines onto the ground. So we're in this deep conversation. Well, maybe we should use pig intestines. No. If we're going to cut a guy, we need to use something we can use over and over. I don't want his intestines to be heated up by the lights. And so we're sitting there just talking away, and turn around, there's a table behind us just appalled. They got the big eyes. They're like, oh, gosh, I can't believe you guys are talking about this. It becomes very normal for us, but for other people, it's still kind of,
That's the cool. If it was my table, I'd be laughing my ass off.
Yeah, I was like, exactly. I was like, hey, let's drop the intestine conversation for a while. But the effect turned out great. That's the important part.
Well, did you have anything else there, Fanboy Will?
I'm pretty much spent.
George, do you have anything else?
I love talking to you. Believe me, as you can probably tell, I can ramble on and on. We can go on for days. Well,
that's why we're here. We're here to hear your story. We're here to hear your experiences. That's why we started the show. So, anything you have to say is always good.
Hey, well, listen, I really mean this. If there's any aspiring filmmakers out there, there's never been a better time in the history of motion pictures to make your own movie than right now. And we'll be appearing at the Nashville Comic City Show this coming weekend, day after tomorrow. And so if you're in the area, stop by. It's at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and I'm always looking forward to talk to other filmmakers and help you out any way I can.
That's great. Now when your action movie comes out there, hit me back up, because we got to have you back on. I want to hear about that. And then what you went through. And
well, like I said, Harry Lehman's in it. He's a wonderful guy and a wonderful actor from the original Friday the 13th. So you can go to his site called First Jason, and it's firstjason.com, and you can also read more about the movie. And there's just a lot of good actors in it. I think people get a big kick out of it.
Definitely check that out.
Definitely just go to our website, check them all out. It's www.zpmovies.com. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. I had a blast.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And keep in touch. Definitely keep in touch.
Nice to meet you. Nice talking with your fans. Have a good night.
Hey,
good luck
care.
with everything.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.